The best I can say, well, I'm going to set up another lecture with her, I guess, because I guess we need to. Well, I'm just saying, anytime, when are you free? I'm just saying, you get it? No, February. No, the 1st of March. Let's say like the first weekend in. What's the first weekend in March?
It's the 1st and 2nd. 1st and 2nd of March.
The first weekend in March. Well, I got a.
1st and 2nd.
Yeah, because I'm going to be in New York on the 21st, so just the weekend after that.
So that'd be March 2nd. That's going to be the Sunday, right?
Yep.
That's Sunday. That's where we make the commitment. We be back then in the house on March the 2nd and all. I'll bring some more of these also too for the people that don't get them and all. And we'll always leave stuff behind and all. I'm constantly corresponding with Al Wo, so if you ever need to get a message to me, you could, correspond with her. You see what I'm saying and all. I should have asked her, well, them Tums will do all right. I needed some gum or something, but that Tums will do all right. Yeah. Anybody got some mints or anything? Somebody got something. That's cool. Oh, that's cool too. Whatever. Just give me some of that and all. I've been taking a lot of vitamin C and hell, I got heartburn from that vitamin C. This is cool. Yeah, so they got that going on. Also too, like I said, it's always take your vitamin C because that's the best way to ward off some of the colds because it's kind of hell when you. But the sister right here, my ex-girlfriend, is the one that taught me that back in the day. About the vitamin C, and ever since I met her, I hadn't had a cold since 89. You see, since 89 and all. But we went through a lot together as far as our formative years also too. And she's an expert on the goddess mystery. Also, she's an expert on the goddess mystery. But getting her to speak is like, you know what I'm saying, getting a damn mule to fly. So you see. So she, but but like I said, she, I'm just saying, anybody need to get out there who got something to say. And as far as a lot of the stuff that on the female energy or the female mysteries, and when we was going through this stuff, she was one of the main people that made me aware of all this stuff. You see what I'm saying? Because when we first started out, and especially back in the late 80s, it was all basically the Nation of Islam type of teaching and all that type of thing. Because the books hadn't started coming in until like the late, let's say like 89 and 90. We couldn't get a lot of the Afrocentric books that started and stuff. So but it's interesting because she went to a white college upstate New York. And she said they was teaching all this stuff through all in the 80s, all this goddess and all the guy, what's his name, black theology, James Cone, and all of this stuff. The white schools, they teach it. You see what I'm saying? So hell, she got Afro-centered education just by being in the white colleges and stuff. You see, so that's very, very key also too. So we got a lot of books and a lot of movies you need to go out and see, and especially we're going to put this on the tape. You need to go out and rent the movie Life Force. Very key because it's dealing with this Hale-Bopp thing. Also, let's see. 4 tapes is coming from Dr. Andow from San Francisco. He mailed these to the brother in New York by the name of Dr. Clemson Brown. And Clemson Brown mailed them to me. Now, there's a guy on here named Art Bell talking. So what I want to do is I want to put this on the tape. You got a box. I want to put this on the tape, the man's mouth, on some things that I mentioned this on the radio, but I want you to hear it from the white man's mouth. Now, if you want to get a hold of these tapes, I'm leaving it up to Al Wo. Can you mass produce these? So whatever the set is, if you want to get a hold of these and all, Al Wo will be the one that's selling them and all. If they mass produce them, they can sell them. You see what I'm saying? So you need to come by here and get this product within the next week. I don't know how much and I guess how much she gonna charge is based on how much it take them to produce them. And all. So, Africa, these will be here next week for the people that want to come by and purchase them. Okay. And there's 4 tapes, and on these tapes, you have the Hale-Bopp thing that's going on. Yeah, the Hale-Bopp thing that's going on. You got the opening of the pyramids that I mentioned on the radio, which you're going to play a little bit of this. As well as, okay. as well as, we're going to play a little bit of this, and I want to put it on the tape. That's why I want to play it. You see, to put it on the, we're going to play a little bit about the opening of the Sphinx with the Richard Hogan. The other section in this tape is about a guy, he's going to be talking about Hale-Bopp, but it's a cracker from Emory University. Now, since 94, the black community here in Atlanta, Georgia has been under attack from a group of witches from Emory University. And they've tried to throw all kind of shit on me and all kinds of, and some of the brothers and sisters they was able to get to. You're going to hear the voice of this man, and even though he might sound like a professional on here, well, I'll explain it. I don't think we have time. He is the actual person that's over this thing. As a matter of fact, he's the one that is that deals with this thing that the government has out now called where they go and spy on people. Remember they said that they... No, it's not that. Remember they busted the government last year and said they had spent over millions of dollars in psychics?
Remote viewing.
Huh? Remote viewing is the name of it. Remote viewing is the name of this thing that they developed in World War II to spy on people. Anyway, right. The little remote viewing book. Yeah. Yeah, and there's another smaller one out now called remote viewing. Yeah, anyway, that the chief center for that type of psychic spy organization is Emory University. Now they got a cracker on here who is the head of that talking, and I'm listening to the tape and I'm saying, man, this is the cracker that's been battling the black community all the time, because when my girl first got with her psychically, she said there's some crackers from Emory University that's battling us psychically, psychic warfare. So even though they might, he was on Art Bell show, and Art Bell, you can pick up Art Bell on shortwave radio, and although he was on the Art Bell show saying, you know, that this is this remote viewing and how they psychically do things and all this here, they also do psychic warfare. So I'm listening to the tape, and I said, this is the cracker that's been battling us all the time now. So what we're going to do is whenever you get the tape, get the cracker name off of it, and then for you people that know anything about some magic, you back the shit up, and we're going to put the damn Yoruba gods on his ass and screw this cracker ass up with our magic, if you want to play around, because we got his ass now on the damn tape bragging, so we're going to take this cracker ass out. And so as soon as you get the tape and all, we're going to do some shit on this motherfucker and make him grow fish scales out his asshole. But that's what I'm trying to say for battling us. But we know that these are the crackers that's doing this stuff. So now we got this cracker name on the tape. It's from Emory University. So now if you want to direct your magic, if you're going to do any magic, direct your magic towards those crackers from Emory University, because those are the crackers that has been battling us with psychic warfare ever since at least 93 or 94. I know for a fact the first of 1994 we got it. I think it was 93. But we didn't recognize that they was battling us until 1994. The first of 1994. Ty Seeley mentioned it one time when I first met up with Ty Seeley, and then after that, my girl mentioned it after she got off the mounds and they opened her up psychically. So we got this particular, and Juju also. So we got this particular, and Juju always talk about it because his father used to work over at Emory. He says a whole lot of shit going on over there. Anyway, we got the tapes. For the people that want the tapes, there's going to be remote viewing on here. So they had to call in this cracker to tell them what's going on the Hale-Bopp incident. You see, but what we're getting ready to hear now is Richard Hoagland's tape on the opening of a doorway in the Great Pyramids on October the 20th. So that's what we're getting ready to hear. Let's see if I can rewind this back. Let's see. October 20th, 1996. What he had done was, Richard Hogan said that they had put out a false date of talking about Minister Farrakhan on here. I want you to get this thing, but yeah, you're going to have to do some very high volume because it. I don't know, because it's recorded very low. That's what I'm saying.
Or not. The fact that the date is right and the time is right.
Okay.
Y'all can hear that back there?
Okay.
You did the tone on the thing.
Okay.
Read the Walls book and give my source, Edwards' speculation.
Okay, so we're going to hear this for a while. You bear with me, because we want to put this on the tape. So some people might want to go by the videotape. You understand what I'm saying? This will also be on the videotape, too. You see, so we want to put this on the tape of this white boy. Now, for the people...
The other correlation, and this is so obscure that nobody would remember it, least of all a guard in Egypt, or my source, all right? When Robert Bauval wrote his book, The Orion Mystery, it got a lot of play in England.
Yeah.
And in Europe, all right, back in the early 90s, 91. Right. One of the world-class Egyptologists, Dr. I.E.S. Edwards, who was the Keeper of Antiquities in the British Museum, who took over from, predecessors before, who was kind of the man on earth when it comes to all things Egyptian or Egyptological or whatever.
Yes.
He was approached by Robert in an effort to, how should I say, get his political support, all right? And wound up doing some interviews for the Telegraph, which is one of the major papers in England, as well as for Channel 4 News. Let me read you from page 176 from Robert's book, The Orion Mystery, published in 1994. But the interview that I'm going to quote to you is from the 16th of April in 1991. All right. Robert said, I returned to England on the 10th of April with 6 photographs from the newspaper. These are photographs from Brink of the shack.
Got a bunch of them here.
The door, from the TV camera on Upawat, the little robot.
Yes.
In 91. The Telegraph said they might consider doing something after Easter, but that I was free to try other papers. Eventually, the story came out in The Independent on April 16th. The same day, Channel 4 News contacted me, and we arranged to show some of the photographs on the 7 o'clock bulletin that evening. Rudolph was interviewed by telephone, and Dr. Edwards made a live appearance. To our surprise and excitement. Now, the reason he's surprised and excited is because Egyptologists never speculate. The worst thing in the world.
Like every other science.
Yeah, well, supposedly. But Hawass is particularly nasty to those who speculate about what's in his monuments.
Well, he's nasty to a lot of people.
Anyway.
I can say that.
It's your show, yes. You can say anything you want. Robert says, to our surprise and excitement, when asked what might be behind the door. Remember, the German institute that funded Brink denied when this all came out there even was a door. All right?
Well, that's a little silly. We've seen the photographs.
Well, but this was in 91.
All right.
Zahi Hawass denied there was a door.
Figures.
Okay? So Dr. Edwards, who was the living legend, I mean, he was much older, but he was kind of like, and is, the Sagan of Egyptology, as Carl would be to the search for extraterrestrial life, the world's expert to go to.
Right.
Robert says, to our surprise and excitement, when asked what might be behind the door, Edwards said he thought there might be a statue of the king gazing at the constellation of Orion.
Wow.
Now, we have a pharaoh in Edwards' mind sitting behind the door, and we have a report now from my source that when they went in on the 20th, they found a statue of a black man with an ankh in his lap, sitting cross-legged, facing up the shaft in a relatively small room. 2 meters, 2.5 meters by 3 meters is basically 6 feet by 4 feet, all right? Gazing up the shaft, which is not toward Orion, it's toward Sirius.
Right.
Question. Did someone read Bauval's book and give my source Edwards' speculation? Or did Edwards have access to information from the Egyptians and the 100 years of the English Rape of the Nile, that's the title of a well-known book on Egypt archaeology, and plunder such that the keeper of antiquities at the British Museum might have access to documents, papyri, or some record indicating from other sources, other mechanisms, what was behind the little door.
What do you think?
I don't know. The point is that nobody knows the right date, because the date was figured out on our computer, tied to the landing of Apollo 11 and a key man, Farouk El-Baz, and the only other date before the end of the year that fit that calculation was October 20th at about 9:30 a.m. Cairo time. And that's the date we were given through our source.
Astounding.
So now we have, and the guard was fired. Now what my source didn't do, and I'm, kind of being really mean and nasty to him because he should have done it, he didn't follow the guard to wherever he's been banished and sitting down with a tape recorder and video and get his story one-on-one like any good reporter would do. Now, to give him his due, he's not a journalist. He was interested in some other archaeology, and he didn't really think it was necessary to do that. I don't know whether we can now do that, by remote control or not. Mm-hmm. The fact that the date is right, and the time is right, and the principle is right, and the statue is right, indicates that there is something pretty interesting going on here, which someone, including us, should pursue. Now, I got a missive in the mail today. You know that I've been, you knew that. You may have forgotten. Okay. A couple of months ago. And I've accepted and I'm now getting this nice, neat, cozy, warm correspondence from ARE. And I'm going to, knock their socks off with some interesting stuff. One of the interesting things in the documents that came to me today from ARE is that Zahi Hawass has published a date. In the latest issue, it's called The New Millennium, a journal for times of change and transformation. Ancient Egypt Rising, published bi-monthly by the Association for Research and Enlightenment and the Edgar Cayce Foundation. And this is the December 96, January 97 issue. Just came in today. All right?
Yes.
It says in the opening, and I got to find out where this is. It, by the way, includes a section on pyramids on planet Mars at the very end.
Yes.
Which I was knocked out by. It has the secrets of pyramids in China, which I haven't read yet. A search of the Hall of Records. Okay. The mysterious door in the Great Pyramid. This is on page 29. All right?
Yes.
Okay. On the other hand, it may be an ancient record of exactly who built this astonishing structure and why. He's talking about the authors, meaning Baval, make the case that what might be behind the door, recalling the sacred Ben-Ben stone of Amun-Ra's temple at Heliopolis. That's what Baval is speculating might be behind the door. At present, the door is scheduled, this is from ARE, to be opened or entered via a micro-video camera in March of 1997. The world awaits.
March, huh? That's a conjunction point for a lot of things. Richard, I've got a fax here, a little impertinent possibly, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Email. Jeff in Denver says, could this be a statue of Louis Farrakhan?
Actually, that's not an impertinent question at all. Louis Farrakhan and a number of other black leaders, both in this country and other places, have been very upset with white Anglo-Saxon Egyptology for a very, very long time. Because when Europeans basically moved colonially into Egypt and took over and raped the country and the treasures and the heritage of the Egyptians, they put in place a very European projection of what Egypt was all about. And for a very long time in the black community, particularly in scholars that I've known at Howard University and other places,
sure,
there has been a rising counter-revolution, including some of my friends in the black Muslim tradition, who I hope are listening tonight, who have been claiming that Europeans have been completely missing the point, and that the progenitors of the classic Old Kingdom Egyptian civilization were in fact none other than black Africans. And that the name Hemmitt, which means the black land,
Yes.
does not derive from the soil of Egypt, but from the people who built her. So when I get a source with good connections telling me that Farouk El-Baz went into that chamber with a high-tech video camera robot on the 20th of October and found a seated statue of a black man, the same Farouk El-Baz who was called upon by Louis Farrakhan to correct the miscounting of the Million Man March by the Department of Interior last year.
The same man?
The same man, Dr. Farouk El-Baz,
Wow.
from aerial reconnaissance photography, from aircraft reconnaissance photography and helicopter photography, and a computer program he developed at the Center for Remote Sensing at Boston University, came out with a corrected count on behalf of Louis Farrakhan.
That is remarkable.
Isn't this getting to be interesting?
It is, yes. Now, let's define black. Here's a fax from Jerry in Clovis, California. My teacher, a colleague, told me the Egyptians were very dark Caucasians. I guess this new discovery proves it to be true. They were not black. So, do you want to stick with your description of a black man, or would this be a dark-skinned Egyptian, or is that too close a call to make?
No, the description was a black man.
A black man.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind that if the statue was copper and it was patinaed and it was as ancient and aging as,
True.
and you had a lousy video camera, look, color, notice how hypersensitive we are on color. The very fact that in this chamber there's only a guy sitting cross-legged with an ankh looking up the shaft, I find stunning.
Well, we're also hypersensitive about color.
Yeah, but should we be?
No, hell no.
Now, here's where things get really interesting, because Farrakhan and the black Muslims believe that Homo sapiens, the human race, is the descendant, the kind of nurtured stepchildren of a race of white guys who came from the sky, from the stars, and who placed civilization on Earth a long, long time ago.
Well, that's right, that the whites, in effect, are ETs.
It's always kind of puzzled me why, a bunch of very serious black folks would be willing to accept their heritage from a bunch of white guys from off planet. But that's another evening, another discussion, okay? The point is that this is confounding the mystery. Mm-hmm. There are clues here that we're on to something. We have a key person, Dr. El-Baz, who, by the way,
I want to cut that off. First of all, they had made the decision that they saw a man in the pyramids with an ankh in his hand, and he was pointing to the star Sirius, the Orion constellation, which Sirius is the chief star in Orion's belt. You see, pointing to the star Sirius. So here it is, we got white people on this tape, bearing witness, because the white man, just as soon as he said it, white people are called in, because this guy, if you want to get, this guy has this type of conversation on his show every night. His name is Art Bell, and you can, if you got a shortwave radio, you can get Art Bell. Or if anybody's hooked up to the internet, just tap in Art Bell, because they also have cyber chat, which is conversations over the internet. So anybody that's hooked up to the internet, get Art Bell. But it's interesting. Now they got this particular conversation going on, and they have already proven. The guy asked him, I want to know whether you talking about a dark-skinned Caucasian, that same old Egyptology shit. That they always say, a dark-skinned Caucasian. They put him everything. They put him an East Indian than a black person. Or are you talking about a black man? So the guy Richard Hoagland, who wrote the book Monuments on Mars, said, no, he was black. Yeah, he was black. Now, Richard Hoagland went into this whole thing about Farrakhan and all of this. What Richard Hoagland is doing, because even the crap of that, he double talks. First of all, Richard Hoagland is actually piggybacking off of what the Nation of Islam never told nobody that they came from a race of white people. Not even Minister Louis Farrakhan. Never told nobody no shit like that. But what it is they opened the door. What happened was when they showed a picture of Master Farad Muhammad, and they said that he is God. You understand what I'm saying? And they say that Master Farad Muhammad is God. And they say that he's what the nation used to call him a half-original man. Basically, you know, his mother was white and his father was black. Richard Hoagland knows this. But as a result, Richard Hoagland wants to get on the radio and say that they came from a race of white people based on the knowledge that he does know, because he knows when he's over the radio waves, most white people don't know about the Nation of Islam or the history of the Nation of Islam. So he can back that up by even saying, well, listen, we can go get some of the history books and I'll show you a picture of the damn white boy. You see what I'm saying? So this is the reason, this is how they double talk. So what it was is, he had to come on the radio and report this news that on October the 20th, they found a statue of a black man pointing up to Sirius. And sure enough, because as soon as he said it, people started calling in saying, you know, was he dark-skinned? And he put that actual myth to rest, right on the radio, saying, no, this was a black man. You just nothing here. But as a result, he came and said, and just made up this lie. And you know damn well Richard Hoagland knows there is no history about no Nation of Islam ever saying that we came from black people. As a matter of fact, there is no document, nobody will ever even say that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Because the simple fact that most white people now know that black people were the creators of civilization. Hell, Leakey told them that in the what? The early 20th century. So based on that, that's common knowledge among white people. You understand? So now what the key is here is he's double talking for the simple fact that he knows that they found this particular information in the pyramids. And I wanted to play this for you because there's a whole conversation going on. Another conversation going on is a conversation about the dinosaurs. Now they said sometime last year they found some dinosaurs bones that was radioactive, which means that in actuality they were blown up. Which coincides with the Cthulhu mythos. Or the legend of Cthulhu, where they say that when we first came to the earth, we had to fight against the elder things. Now what they're saying in the Cthulhu myth, and what also Cam said, he had some information which bears witness to the Cthulhu myth or the Necronomicon myth, that the dinosaurs were actually an advanced race of people, not like an animal, but somewhat like your dolphins and your whales, which is actually advanced race of mammals. So if you know that the dolphins and the whales that survive now is an advanced species, it's more advanced than the damn beast, that our bodies can reincarnate in and out of it, then what can you think about the dinosaurs? So they said that the dinosaurs was an advanced race of people. And what happened is basically when we got here, even Hakeem Bey said that they got pictures, they got history, the Moors got history of black people living simultaneously with the so-called dinosaurs. But what happened is where the mystery comes in is this. At one particular time, when we were on the planet and living with dinosaurs, dinosaurs were mostly into the physical realm and we were semi-physical. So therefore, based on interdimensional, our paths didn't cross. As we fell deeper and deeper into the physical and got entrapped into the physical, we realized that there wasn't going to be no way we was going to have to live with them. First of all, we were the gods of the universe. So we realized that there was no way that we would be able to live with them both. So basically, is what Richard Hoagland is bearing witness to the same information that Cam came up, and the information that I always talk about in the Necronomicon mythos, which I'll read for you. That once we got down here and we found out that the two couldn't share the same space, we blew them up. Now we blew them up. Now I'll read it to you.
That's why they disappeared all of a sudden.
That's why they disappeared all of a sudden. Because the gods, which was us that was more advanced, blew them up. Whatever happened when and I talk all the time about Adalabroth trapping us down here. Whatever happened at the time when we got trapped down here, he first created some elder things and trapped them down here, and he trapped a particular race from the stars in them. And so when we got here, with us being the most advanced in the hierarchy, when we got here, we just went ahead and we stayed with him for a while. And I'm going to get this piece and I want to read this to you. Well, basically it says that once we came to this particular planet, we met the elder things. And for years we battled with the elder things. At the end, we battled with the elder things, later on causing a truce. Now that's in the Necronomicon mythology, but he doesn't go and say, well, what actually happened to them, because obviously they died off at a quick point. And it's been baffling scholars this day is how these people can live, these dinosaurs, they can live and just die off. But what happened is basically once we found out that our space could not be with theirs, because, you know, could not be with theirs, because at one time we could live simultaneously because we were somewhat interdimensional. They were in one dimension and we was in another dimension. But what happened is basically we blew them up. And now, it's interesting that Cam came out with that information. I knew it through the Necronomicon information, and then the white boy on these tapes that you're going to get, right before he started talking about the black man, he started talking a black man in the pyramids. Right before he started talking about the black man in the pyramids, he started mentioning the dinosaurs that got blew up. And they said they found these dinosaur bones that were radioactive. Very interesting, and that's all on those tapes. So she might want to get you those tapes or whatever. If you're interested in them, she'll have them done I guess sometime next week. She'll have them done for you sometime next week. So let's get into a couple of things. We got a lot to cover, and I got a lot of information. First of all, I want to talk about this Bill Cosby incident, because now we realize this here. First of all, Bill Cosby being a Negro boule, and also all you got to do is rent the movie Leonard Part 6 that came out in 1986, late 86, 87. Leonard Part 6. When you rent that particular movie, you will see in that movie that when he wanted to get to a certain section of top security, of the white man's top security, he had to say the word boule, which we noted that Bill, what's his name? What's his name? Not Bill Cosby, but who first broke this information? Steve Coakley. Steve Coakley first broke this information about the that Bill Cosby was a boule member. So what happened is two hypotheses. Number one, first of all, when the white man promises you a certain amount of money, every black person, he said, I'm gonna make extra super rich. It always comes with a certain sacrifice. Because I'll be damned, the day when his son died, it was almost like he knew it was coming. He expected it because he was smiling and shit. I said, this man here don't look like a man. The son just died a few hours ago. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't want to talk to nobody. Hell, you got people walking down the street, just regular stars, and nobody there don't want to talk to the damn media. All of a sudden, he was my hero, and he just smiling, and then the next thing you know, he back at work real soon. Hell, when Sally Jesse Raphael's daughter got killed, she took off work for damn near 2 months. Say, oh, damn that. I got to get my head straight. This man back in work in less than a week or in a week's time. You see what I'm saying? Then you know it was something funny about it, because what followed it was the whole thing about the girl that came up and said that he was her father. Now the key, and so my point is this also too. This is one thing about the white boy. Now here's Bill Clinton, for example. They have accused this man of everything in the world, and more than likely it's true. You know what I'm saying? He did try to get that girl and rape that girl or fill up that girl or whatever and try to get some. Well, you know, that's true. And all right. But he will not admit to nothing. That's one thing about the cracker. That's what I use, this cracker, and that's what I like about O.J., not about killing somebody, but don't admit to them crackers that you beat her ass, even though you got bruises and all this shit. But no, you right, O.J. No, I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. Why? Because Bill Clinton and these crackers, they never admit to nothing. I remember one time that they had this thing go down. They had Joe Montana, the football star from San Francisco, and the same time they had my homeboy from South Carolina won the Heisman Trophy. George Rogers. And George Rogers, remember, he wrote a check with his name over it and gave it to the dope dealer. Now, they had him, and so my point is, you just don't say nothing. No, he's going to go on and have a damn press conference telling white people that he's sorry. And why is it every nigga that get in trouble, they always have a press conference telling the white man that they're sorry? Whereas white people, they will give them, and they say, it wasn't me. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Now, Bill Clinton and his wife know. They said, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. They got these people dead to rights, but they never say nothing. So my point is this here. Here it is, the white man, they got the judge already decided for your ass that this girl was lying. And then you're going to go on TV a week later and volunteer information about how you were screwing around with the mother? That ought to let you know. And so my point is, he had to give up something. Now, if you just check when it comes to Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan had to give up his father. Oprah, hell, she's been ridiculed with scandal on crack. You know what I'm saying? Her boyfriend a faggot and all. Because the boyfriend was fucking Armstrong Williams, which is that you know this old nigga now. Every time they want to get somebody to go out against somebody, they'll get Armstrong Williams. See, I know Armstrong Williams. Armstrong Williams is like from 20 miles from my hometown, Mullins. I grew up with that nigga. My brother, which is a year older than me, went to college with him. When I was at Benedict, they were at South Carolina State. And he got where he was by courting the most racist person to come out of South Carolina was Strom Thurmond. And Armstrong Williams got where he was by riding the coattail of Strom Thurmond. So he's been an Uncle Tom since he's been in college. You see what I'm saying? But Stedman and that whole thing, they had a little thing going down and all, and there was a whole lot of stuff that went down. So she's been catching ridicule also when she lost that weight that time. Them crackers were like, wait a minute, you don't go lose no weight. No, we deal with the black woman through an Aunt Jemima type entity. And even if you're skinny now, because the first Aunt Jemima woman was, well, I'm talking about the new modern was Whoopi Goldberg. Every time you see her, she made 4 movies with her taking care of white children. Clara's Heart, A Long Walk Home, this other movie called Karina, and the other movie where she was with the guy from France. The guy from France. Gerard Depardieu, whatever his name is, I don't know that motherfucker name. Some wee motherfucker. Anyway, she was with him, and they was taking care of this little white boy called something. Anyway, she's always doing these Aunt Jemima roles. So now, she's dying out, so the new one now is Alfred Woodard. She the new one now. She done did about 3 where she taking care of these people. Huh? Yeah, we know she married to a white person, but it's the image that they're trying to bring across. Plus also, too, now this don't have nothing to do with a woman that's overweight, because the black woman is the only woman in the world that can be overweight and still be, and still look good. No other people can do that shit. You see what I'm saying? It can be a little good because most people, and most men accept it because they know their mama's overweight. And we, in our criteria, the motherfucker got to have a big ass. So how big that is, that's based on, you know, whatever. Some people want it bigger than most. My point is this. But why is it, if you notice lately, they got to have that same Hattie McDaniels looking type black woman in all movies and stuff? If you notice, they got to have a heavy set black woman in there. Now, it doesn't have anything to do with weight, and we're not talking negative about weight. What we're talking about here is it's an icon that they want to put on, and they do it subtle now with this heavy-set type of black woman. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the new thing is now, if they got a fine black woman, she's got to be a lesbian. That's the new shit now. If you see the movie, this movie with, what's the fucking flying nun? Eye for an eye. Eye for an eye. The woman was a lesbian. You see what I'm saying? But they also had a fat woman around there. So they're doing certain things, and they're really denigrating sisters. That's the key now. They've always been doing it to black men, you know, as a thug thing, but that shit done got old. So now what they're doing is they're keying in on the black woman, real key now. She either got to be a lesbian, a shake dancer, a stripper, whatever. Not saying that we don't have that in the community, not saying that nobody don't, but my point is this. If you're not going to put no black people in your main cast, then leave the fuck us out all the way. You see what I'm saying? Don't send a white man to prison in the movie, and when he get to prison, there's some black people in prison. Well, shit, it was unrealistic for you to not have them in the movie, so let it be unrealistic that we don't want a damn black person in the prison camp. So they do these things. Now, getting back to actual Bill Cosby. What is happening with Bill Cosby is, and as well as all of them, they got to give up something. So Michael Jackson, he had to give up something. You see what I'm saying? So now he's the laughing stock and pedophile. They say, no, let's get this right. A homosexual pedophile. That's what Saturday Night Live says. Every big person, they have to give up something. Now, Mike Tyson, what happened with Mike Tyson? Some brother called me and made a great observation, and he had gotten some information, because I don't want to take the credit for nothing that I didn't find out myself. Some brother called me and said that they had gotten some information, and he told me where he got the information from, that Mike Tyson, they had to take Mike Tyson to jail because they wanted to study Mike Tyson as being the strongest black man. Not so much as whether he can last 10 rounds, but because he got a knockout punch. You see what I'm saying? So what happened was that they took him to jail and they literally operated on him and experimented on him so that they can somehow do some genetic material to get a strong, they say, well, listen, black people are the strongest on the earth. Right now, the most strongest living black man is Mike Tyson, is what they said. So they wanted to study him. So what happened is they constantly had to get him into prison. So the whole thing was a setup so they can biologically study Mike Tyson. Now, another thing also, too, about Bill Cosby is Bill Cosby named every last one of his children with the letter E, which is the second letter in the vowel, which, if you get the serious mystery, there's a whole section in here called the significance of the letter E. The significance of the letter E. Brother called me last Friday night. He said, I broke that Bill Cosby mystery. He said, go get the serious mystery and look. It's in the back of the fragments, and it's in the back of the appendage, and it's called The Meaning of the Letter E at Delphi. The second letter in the vowels, A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. The second letter, the meaning of the letter E at Delphi, and also he's saying that second letter is like your double soul, or also Sirius A, and then there's Sirius B, which is number 2. Anyway, it's some interesting information in here, because now we understand that Bill Cosby knew something, because Bill Cosby was the first man to have a black television series. And right after him, Diane Carroll came with Julia Baker. So he's the first man, with I Spy. Now, they don't hook you up, not unless they pick a certain person. So he was hooked up in all this shit from the get-go. Because, see, Pennsylvania and all that type of stuff, because he grew up in Philly and all that is heavily Masonic area. And so this was a doggone chicken come to roost where they had to call in the actual marker. You see what I'm saying? Plus, you got to look at this particular part, too. The third hypothesis is this. Number 1, he was the person that's credited in making NBC number 1. They'd never been number 1 in their life. Up until Bill Cosby came, and they made him number 1. And he had some clout over at NBC. And then he did, the Different World and all this type of stuff. Then he jumps to CBS. Now, I'm not saying this is it, but you got to look at all these things, because that's just like jumping from York Rite to Scottish Rite, because all that shit is Masonic. You see what I'm saying? NBC is the peacock. The peacock is the symbol for AWAS. AWAS is the symbol for AWAS. There's also Oshun is the symbol for AWAS. Then he jumps to CBS, Columbia Broadcasting. No, what is it? Central. No, what is it? Columbia Broadcasting Station, which is the Eye of Heru, which is showing you that each one of these particular stations are Masonic organizations that rule the world. So when he jumped from one to the other, you see what I'm saying? And then what happened? 1 week he wins an award. What was it? Emmy. You see what I'm saying? For a show. I was like, what the fuck he get an Emmy for that show? That show ain't, hell, people, I know the show can't be that damn good. You know what I'm saying? They gonna give the Emmy to this nigga? You know what I'm saying? They got shows that deserve, black shows is better than that. But he won an Emmy. And a week later, his son gets killed. And they said that the doggone girl was naked up under her fur. Because as soon as it broke, because like I said, my sister now, she's working at Atlanta Journal now. You see what I'm saying? And she getting the full information. And she said if she just listened to what the actual, she works for the journalists. So she was just listening to what they said. They said, well, she was naked up under that coat. You know damn well she had something to do with the shit. Now she gonna see the man killing him, get in the car and haul ass. Now here it is, this stuff is all set up and it's like a castration. Here it is, you ain't seen them damn pictures of Nicole with her head cut off and none of that shit to this day. Right? But here it is, the first day you see this man laying on the ground dead with blood all over his head. You understand what I'm saying? All that stuff was set up that particular way. And it's very interesting, but she was naked up under that coat, you see.
She was an older woman, too.
Older woman, you know, like this and all, in her fur, naked.
She was 47.
47, and plus they also showed another black man with the white woman again. And this is the thing that goes all over the news.
Excuse me, you know, she used to step on to Melissa Gibbons used to found off.
Melissa Gibbons? Yeah. What about her?
She used to step on.
Oh, double for her. That was her double, you saying?
No.
Stepmother. Oh, stepmother to Melissa Gilbert. Okay. Very key. But it's interesting because the brother said you need to go and look at the serious mystery and look at the member of the letter E. Because some white boy approached him and said, why do you name your children, Bill Cosby, why do you name your children, all your children with the letter E? And he said excellence, and he walked away. But he didn't know about no fucking excellence. It was some symbolic meaning, because in the Masonic thing, there's probably another meaning that they have the word for, that they call for Sirius B. And whatever this word is, he named his children after that, you see. Because what I'm saying is he's not surprised whatsoever on what was actually going on with this particular part here. Not at all, you see. Very key. Now, I want to get into some things right here because this is key. I said it on the news and I want to say it again. We're going to recap what I said on the radio and we're going to go into a whole lot of stuff. So, I also said that the Ebonics thing. The Ebonics thing has nothing to do with whether the white man is concerned on whether or not you learn proper English. You see what I'm saying? There's not concern whatsoever. The Ebonics thing here is dealing with, well, first of all, this Ebonics thing came up with what, 1974. You understand what I'm saying? My mother was an English teacher, and she had heard about it way back. I remember back in 1975, my mother was talking about this same Ebonics thing, and she's been retired since 1990. And she was an English teacher. She was talking about, they telling us now in the school systems that you don't need to correct black people as much because the same thing which you don't correct the damn Chinese for not using the letter R and shit. You see. And she remembered this thing way back in, I remember her talking about it in 1975. So this is nothing new. But all of a sudden the white boy is going to come up with it. All of a sudden the white boy is going to come out with it and stuff, you see. Well, if some of the people get too tired, we got some flow over here too. You see, we can push some of the books and all. This white boy is going to come out with this thing. And he's giving it to the people. And like I said on the radio, you got two people. You got the other half saying black people don't have a problem learning what the hell they want. They can learn what the hell they want, and it's true. I mean, shit, I used to take a damn Rudy Ray Moore album and learn that whole album. I said, shit, I got to know this shit before I go to school Monday morning. It's Sunday. Now I got to know this whole damn album, so when I go, the damn break come, I got to get down on Monday morning, and I got to know this whole fucking album before I go. That's in the junior high school. I said, I got to know all this Rudy Ray Moore, and I know that whole damn album, and I have an audience just like this sitting there and me quoting damn Rudy Ray Moore, and they said, that motherfucker know that shit back to back. So I know we can learn. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? I don't know timetables, diddly squatter, none of that shit in school. No timetables. Shit, just barely learn how to read. That's all. I learned how to read when I went from damn 1st to 7th grade. Learn how to add, subtract, read. That's it. No fuck the goddamn multiplication shit. I know how to add, subtract, read. Damn the division. Okay, I did learn the division to get out of it. I had to learn multiplication and division so I could go to so that they could so I could get to high school. So I had to learn that little bit of mathematics, but I soon forgot that stuff right after I got to high school. So don't ask me. So what I'm trying to say here is this. I hope she didn't leave because of the curse words and all. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm saying at this particular time we got to get over the cultural things of what we think is supposed to make us important. You understand what I'm saying? The petty stuff and all. It's just like on one time that Khalid Muhammad came to the AU Center Library. And he sat there and he read the King Alpha Plan for the first time black people ever heard this. And he had to say the word goddamn. And the man read all this stuff on how they get ready to kill us. And the only thing this sister could think about is, you said the word goddamn. You see, I'm telling you that the man coming and breaking in your house and cut your damn neck off, and you worrying about the word goddamn? You see what I'm saying? So they gonna put on your tombstone, well, she got her ass fucked up by these crackers, but she didn't say the word goddamn. That's pettiness. And like, oh, well, you got children. Like the hell your children don't know the damn curse words. Now let's not be dumb with this mess. I grew up in a time when the mothers whipped that ass. Which is almost now, that's almost like a foreign language to some parents these days. I don't whip my children. You see what I'm saying? And I knew every curse word by 5th grade or even earlier, so don't come with the bullshit about your kids and all this type of stuff. And all, you know. And even in your house you use it like your kids are stupid. That's the problem now, is you underestimate the doggone children in the first place, like they're idiots. Now going back to what I'm saying here is this. To make a long story short, I could learn anything anyway. So yes, those teachers at one thing are saying, yes, these children can learn some stuff because we know what we got here. But then again, other people saying, now come on, man, it's a long time since damn integration, and they done screwed your children up. So you better go, you saying what they can do, we telling you that they are not doing. So let's try some of everything. And like I said on the radio, you wouldn't go, and it's psychological, you wouldn't go to the Chinese, and the Chinese or the Japanese, because that's who you love now, because they so-called, we follow the people with the money. Them slant-eyed bastards. You wouldn't go to the Japanese and say, the Japanese will come on and say, we are learning Japonics to bridge the gap, between the language that we carried over here and trying to learn a greater sense of English. So we're trying to bridge the gap. The first thing you were saying in your mind, damn, them Japanese bad. That's because you look at them as a superior people. You say, oh, they bad. They are doing this type stuff, because I've heard them brag. You know, the Jews go to school on Saturday. These people do this with their children. So the first thing we'll do, we'll be bragging on that shit. And around our dinner table, we will be bragging about how the Japanese are teaching their children how to speak English through Japonics. Or if it was the Jews, you understand what I'm saying? You would be bragging on how they teach their children how to speak this from Jubonics. You see? And it wouldn't be no thing. You wouldn't even think about the shit for 2 minutes. You would accept it. You understand what I'm saying? Because other races have the power to define whatever their reality is and make the shit stick. But when it come to us, oh, them niggas, they done gone crazy now. You understand what I'm saying? They done gone crazy now. Now, but that's not the reason why the white boy got it on. So it don't matter whether you are a teacher, because all educators are against it and stuff, naturally, you see. That's just like the Negro. The Negro always take what they become good in, and they don't want to try nothing new, because if you try something new, that means that you won't be number one in what you do. You see what I'm saying? And I want to be number one. It's an ego thing. You don't really want to teach nobody nothing. You just want to be number one, and you want to have a damn proud race of black people talking about what the shit they did in the 1960s and the 1940s and the 1930s. You understand what I'm saying? But that's the psychology of the black people. The point I'm trying to make is this. The white man don't give a doggone whether the teachers are doing it as far as teaching them standard English in the way we used to do it, or whether you do Ebonics. The whole key is like I said, he's trying to make and prove this bell curve that they came out in the late 80s, early 90s, about black people are too inferior to learn. So in the context of he putting you on every TV show, all the newspapers, all the books, and you arguing about Ebonics, the first thing to make an argument, you got to admit that there's something wrong with the learning in your community. And as soon as you admit that, around the world, they beam these things up with satellite and they go around the world. So everybody in fucking Sweden, you understand what I'm saying? Switzerland, you see what I'm saying? Japan, Tibet, all these people around the world that say them some dumbass people. You understand what I'm saying? And this is the reason why when even our own brothers and sisters from outside of the country come into the country and see you, they view you as the Huggy Bear, as the JJ from Good Times. They view you that, and it's all fuel based on the beast. The beast ain't interested in the Ebonics. He got to jump on these niggas, and he blasting this thing up the satellite to say, who needs the Negro? This is the inferior Negro. And who needs the Negro at this particular time? And he's blasting this thing up to the satellite. You see, and the whole time you sitting up and they arguing and stuff, you ain't catching what's going on here. That's the key on what this whole Ebonics thing is about. He don't bit more give a doggone about anything. You see, so and it's nothing but adding on to the ongoing plight of the black community since the 1990s with the crack, the dope, the drugs, and everything. So what they're saying is, look, this person is obsolete. We got to take this person out. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what this whole thing of the Ebonics thing about. It ain't got nothing to do with whether they learn it or not. And what it is basically also bearing witness that we are at an all-out war with this cracker now. He ain't pulling no punches at all now. You see what I'm saying? At all now. Another thing we had an all-out war for the simple fact that he got so many doggone Negroes selling out on TV. Now the same Armstrong Williams said, listen, throw them niggas off welfare, and if they die, so be it. Wait a minute, hold on now. Here's a fucking black man on national TV saying throw them off welfare, and if some of them starve and black, if they die, so be it. Somebody, nobody promised you. Well, fuck it. You act like we came off Ellis Island. Us came from some boat or something saying we was promised this. We was taken here against our will. But so what I'm trying to say is that they got these particular Negroes now, and I got some other information bearing witness with some cloning thing from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which I just got. We're going to get into also today. Let me get my paper napkin. So let's see where we're going with all of this. Okay. Like I said, another movie that you want to also rent, a movie that's also talking about the that you don't necessarily need a machine to time travel. You can time travel in your mind, is the movie Peggy Sue Got Married. Go back and rent the movie. She fell out on stage and she went back to the 1950s, but she wasn't dreaming. The whole key with the movie is it was all real. You see, so the movie is teaching that you can time travel within your mind. And when she got back there, her grandfather took her in the lodge and said, our lodge was founded on a time traveler. It's very key that you get that particular movie to try to understand on what's going on. Is that movie is Peggy Sue Got Married. Peggy Sue Got Married. So let's see. Let me get some of the stuff out of the way. Stuff that I don't need. It's cluttering up everything. And let's see. I only want to get with the stuff that I'm dealing with today. But I want to get into some information now about Nat Turner. I got a reading, and the reading that I got on Nat Turner, that Nat Turner was the God Heru incarnate at that particular time, and he only did what he did at that particular time because that's what he's supposed to do. If you know the Nat Turner story, Nat Turner knew exactly what he's supposed to do. He never started out on a mission to say, I was going to kill up all the white people and I'm going to free the slaves. He did what he did, and he wanted to get to a certain place. And when he got to that certain place, that's when he was able, that's when he was able to allow them to catch him based on the black people turning him in. But he was also a form of the God Heru incarnated, or what we would just call the Christ figure. A Christ figure. We are all Christ, but it was also the Christ figure. And all that was very interesting also too. Another thing that I just was looking over my life the other week, and I just realized some things, some stuff coming on TV, and some certain things that come right on the news, and certain experiences you will have will give you the key picture on what's going on. And one is this. In the early 1990s and late 1980s, they were killing black designers. So you had the guy Willie Smith, they killed him, as well as the guy Patrick Kelly. What's his name? Patrick Kelly, which was real big. And it came to because see, the thing I used to design shoes, and I realized because as soon as they died, they all said, well, you know, they didn't own any companies, no way. That was always the white man stuff. Well, the cracker told me something one day, and it took me all these years to realize why these people died, as well as Reginald Lewis. That's the name, Reginald Lewis? As well as a lot of black people you will see around here, as far as Tupac Shakur, and a lot of them. Some black people, some black stars, they knock them off, and let me explain this to you. When I was designing shoes, the white boy said, we're going to hook you up. You're going to be the new black man in the shoe thing, because that can sell. It's a novelty item. So, and the sister can bear witness to it because she was with me at the time when I went out to the Peachtree perimeter, and the white boys had some, he said, I got some Jews upstairs this got $500,000 to start with, and we're going to give you all of this. I said, well, wait a minute. How can I own a company? I asked him, I said, how can I own a company when I don't have no money? I'm broke. The guy said, don't worry about that. He said, this is the deal. This is how we do it. He said, what we do is this. We